3:30 in the morning. Let's make pork butt. Okay, so I'm not really that tired. I'm not really that tired. I'm not really that tired, guys. I'm normally up at this time anyway. But there's only a couple things you need to make a great pork butt, and there's also a fourth ingredient that I'm gonna show y'all today, but it's kind of a secret right now, and it's a secret because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and there's no grocery stores open right now, and I failed to plan ahead and grab that ingredient yesterday. So I will unveil the secret ingredient later in the video. To make a great pork butt, you obviously need a pork butt. And on top of that, there's a couple of ingredients. The only ones we're gonna use today is the Rio Spice 16 mesh black pepper, their coarse black pepper, and then also their Rio seasoned salt. Now, as I said earlier, there's going to be a fourth component, but I forgot it. My fault, failed planning. Hollywood Magic will fix that later in the video.
All right, so let's get this bone-in pork shoulder. That's right, shoulder, not butt. Everyone calls it a pork butt. It's not the butt of the pig. So we're gonna take our bone-in pork shoulder. We're gonna hit it with that Rio Spice 16 mesh coarse black pepper on their website, as well as that Rio seasoned salt. We use a ton of their product in the restaurant. We love it. I'll link it down below. I'm also going to put a little QR code. You can scan the lower third, take you straight to their website. Support them, they're good people. Now, when it comes to seasoning your protein, and this is not just pork butt, but this is anything, make sure you go pepper first and then your salt. If you go reverse, there's the chance that salt will activate and form a wet barrier, and that pepper will never get a chance to really bind to the product. And that can lead to some of that blotchiness or flaking off you might have in your finished product. So just remember, pepper first, then whatever seasonal you want after that. When you're going to season that protein, make sure you do your non-presentation side first, because that way you don't stir up or blotch up or mess up the real pretty side that everyone's going to want to see once you pull this thing off the smoker and really wow and impress your friends. So non-presentation side first, flip it, hit that nice pretty top, get it nice and even, and you'll be good to go.
All right, so programming notes here. We're cooking fat side up, got it in the center of the grate. I'm looking to cook between 275, 300. We're gonna make this a pretty hot and quick cook. We're making sandwiches today, so not really gonna spend 20 hours cooking a pork butt. We're gonna be using post oak, just like we would on our Syntex here for flavor. So it doesn't matter though the wood, if you have hickory, cherry, pecan, whatever you have, just use whatever's local to you. Don't go out and go buy post oak just because we're using post oak here in Texas. Is it hard to see? It's because it's 3:45 in the morning and it's raining. Sorry.
Here's the game plan for today's cook. We're gonna rock this thing about 250, 275 for the first 3 hours. We're gonna keep that stat shut about 75%, 80%, wherever your pit can. Fire style is gonna be a very traditional, 2 logs on the bottom, 1 on top. Really gonna let this thing breathe. This Goldie's pit is so fun to cook on. It's so easy to cook on. I really love having this thing in our arsenal. I know all the people that attend our classes feel the exact same way. All right, about that hour 5 mark, we've hit that perfect time to wrap. And for us, for this protein here, we're gonna wrap when this thing hits like 165, 175, somewhere in there. Again, normally we don't wrap anything and put it back on, but because we're making sandwiches today and I don't want to be babying this fire all day long, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing post stall. So for us, that's usually like that 170, 175 mark. So we're gonna get it wrapped up, double foil it, put it back on the pit. We're then gonna crank that fire up to about 300, 315 and wait until we hit about 195, 200 degrees dead internal on that pork butt.
Pork rinds, the absolute backbone of the American diet. These things are fantastic. When you've had one too many at the bar, absolutely love them. And I got this idea from the guys at Foxborough, so I made sure I want to give them some credit. They are in Atlanta, Georgia. They have several locations, and they are making some of the best barbecue in the entire world. If you're anywhere near Foxborough's, hit them up. Tell them you saw them on the video. Go check them out, guys. We're gonna pop these in the oven. We're gonna let them bake up and crisp up, and get them ready to chop them into our pulled pork sandwich.
All right, guys, crank that oven to like 375, 400 degrees here. We're gonna try and get some nice color on these pork rinds. Nothing too crazy here. You really just want them to get really, really crispy without being burnt. I'm gonna set a timer for about 30 minutes. He's actually only took about 17 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. That's kind of the color they're looking for. It's just a couple shades darker than what they came in from the bag. So don't overthink it. Get them crispy, get them ready to get chopped up. All right, hour 8 on this pork butt cook, and this thing is ready to rock. So we are at 199 dead internal on this pork butt, right where we want to be. We're gonna pull it off, set it on the counter, and the most important part, guys, let it rest. Let it come down to 150, and then we'll shred it up.
All right, so paper versus foil. I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't really matter which one you want to use. We use foil here mainly because it's a whole lot easier to keep the block cleaner because we use a lot of tallow. If you use a lot of sauces in your ribs or pork or anything like that, foil obviously is going to contain a lot more of that than your butcher paper would. I will say you will get maybe a slight texture difference, but as far as the bark goes, but it's not big enough for me to ever say like we have to do this one way or this way for the other because it gets this result. To me, it's more about it's just being less messy. And less messy means it's a safer work environment, and I'm sure your wives will appreciate you not making a massive mess in the kitchen.
The bark is barking, boys. This thing is looking fantastic. The Goldie's Pit, once again, did a great job on this cook. Was super easy, right at 8 hours. Great cook, in my opinion. This thing is looking fantastic. We're gonna go ahead and get a rough pull on it, and then we'll kind of chop it up real fine with those crispy pork rinds. We're then gonna throw our rib glaze on top of this thing. I will throw that rib glaze recipe link in the description down below. If you have any questions, hit me up. We use that thing for a lot of our proteins here at Bar-A, our pork ribs, our pulled pork, our chicken. It's a very versatile, I call it a rib glaze. It's really just more of kind of an all-in-one great sauce. Guys, chop it up, chop the pork rinds up, throw that rib glaze or your favorite sauce on there, put it on a warm, soft, buttery Martin's potato bread bun, and you will be the king of barbecue in your neighborhood if you bust this recipe out next time you throw down the smoker.
That is how you make what I think is the greatest sandwich in barbecue. It's saucy, it's salty, it's crunchy, it's soft from the Martin's bun and buttery. You hit so many flavor notes, so many textures. It kind of is just a very balanced sandwich, and I'm so excited you guys followed along. And again, if you're anywhere near Atlanta, Georgia, go see Fox Bros. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, comment down below for what you want to see next, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.